The following video is part of a 30-video series called The Mental Game and Beyond. To receive more information about this special series for pool players, visit nwqpool.com. Chances are you don't play in events that have a shot clock, but you probably have an internal shot clock. In the second part of this video, we're going to talk about the importance of your internal shot clock. And in the first part of this video, we're going to look at a practice session where I don't know that I'm going to be clocked, just to see how much time elapses between my shots. So from the break, you're always going to have a little bit longer time because, especially in 8-ball, you have to determine exactly how you want to play the rack. Now, many pro events have a 30-second shot clock. So we're going to look at how I do up against that 30-second shot clock. Now, your initial break, after the break, you're usually allotted 45 seconds if you have a 30-second shot clock. So this takes 31 seconds before I get on my first shot. I actually changed my mind about how I wanted to play the rack. So that shot came 31 seconds after, which would be below the shot clock. But we're worried about not the actual shot clock, but what my internal shot clock is. What amount of time does it take me to execute a shot if I know I'm not being timed, if I'm not up against the clock, just my own personal rhythm. So the first shot took 31 seconds, which is not long at all after the break. And then we're on 10 seconds there, even after changing my mind about how I want to shoot the shot. This shot on the 7-ball to the 4-ball only takes about 7 seconds. And then from the 4 to the 5, this is about 17 seconds. You can see I have some choices to make here. How am I going to get on the 5? Where am I going to end up? I kind of roll it in and don't get the best position on the 5, but if you look at the layout, there's not a lot of great position to be got. So I end up rolling up right up against this ball. And this is one of the longest periods that I take in this entire rack to shoot this shot. It is 35 seconds overall. I look at it, I get down on it. Where am I going to play the 5 to get on the 8? Obviously, I'm playing the 5 in this corner, but where will I play the 8 afterwards? My initial instinct was to say to play the 8 in the side pocket, but then I decide the corner pocket makes a lot more sense. If this was a match, I would have called it an extension prior to this because this shot took 35 seconds to shoot. And it was the only one that came past what would have been the shot clock for a match. Interestingly enough, my money ball shot only took 5 seconds. I didn't have any decisions to make. I knew exactly where I was going with the 8-ball. Same thing happens in 9-ball. Because I have so many fewer choices to make, I go through the rack a lot quicker. So I don't have the clock on this, but this 9-ball rack is going to disappear pretty quickly. The whole point of the video and the point we're trying to make here is that every player has their own internal shot clock. If you're going to be playing in pro events, you want your shot clock to be well under 30 seconds so you're not running out of time. APA has recommended that you shoot within 20 seconds of the ball stopping. And if we look at my times on these two racks, we'll throw out the 9-ball rack, which happens pretty quickly. And we look at the average time on my 8-ball rack, 17 seconds was the average time between shots in my 8-ball rack. And if we throw out the high and the low, then the average speed was 16 seconds. So the layups, the ones we don't have to make the decisions about, and the ones we have to make the most decisions about, all balance out. If you can get a recording of yourself when you don't know you're being recorded and find out what your average time is between the time the cue ball stops and the time you take your next shot, on average, that's going to be your internal shot clock. Why do you need to know this? Because if you're struggling, you may need to shoot faster or slower than normal, and knowing what your internal shot clock feels like is going to help get you there.